Good morning. Welcome to the Kiluchari Torah Halacha review for Thursday, November 12th. We've been speaking about challahs, about lechem mishnah, having two challahs on the table on Shabbat, on all the meals of Shabbat, Friday night, Shabbos day, and Seudah Shlishit when you make hamotzi. What if you don't have two challahs? What are you supposed to do then? When you don't have two challahs, you should use one whole challah and one cut challah. If whole challahs are not available, you should use two cut or broken pieces. If one had only one challah, he may use a whole cake for a second challah. I'm not sure if they mentioned this. Certainly, not sure they mentioned this. Go into this detail, but a challah we think of as a large loaf of challah. One small bulke roll, a small as long as it's complete. A challah roll certainly counts as a second one. We said yesterday that better to have, they say it's ideal to have two of the same size, but if you have one large and one small, that is fine. A whole piece of matzah, a square matzah out of the box, a round matzah out of the shmura matzah box, if you happen to have one lying around from 6 months ago, as long as it's whole and complete, that counts as a challah also. There's interesting opinions about bagels because, let's see here. A challah less than a kazayis, in other words, a very, very small challah, should not be used unless there's no alternative. You may use frozen challah. You may use a borrowed challah. You may use matzah. Oh, they did say it. You may use a bagel for lechem mishnah. Okay? If you have no pas Yisrael, nothing that's baked by Jews, you can use pas akum as long as it's kosher, commercially baked bread from the bakeries, not from Grudzinski's or from Sobeys or wherever, but as long as it has a reliable kosher supervision, make sure there's nothing treif in there. They do put a lot of treif into the commercially baked breads. Rav Belsky says that you should not use dairy bread for lechem mishnah. So you have, what do you have? You have a challah, and then you have a cheese Danish from Hermes, delicious. So that's the last challah you have. Can you put the dairy bread, the cheese Danish together? So they suggest not to do that. Bread that is cut and placed in a bag should not be used for lechem mishnah. What's the procedure for making the bracha for hamotzi? Before beginning the bracha, make sure that you have the intention of those being exempted by saying Birishus Morai V'Rabotai, with your gracious permission, my masters and my teachers. Okay, very nice to say that. A lot of people don't say that. I don't say that. So you're welcome to, but you don't have to go keep another Shabbos on Sunday if you forgot to say Birishus Morai. If the challahs are in bags, they should be unwrapped before the bracha. After the fact, b'di'evet, if the challahs were not unwrapped, the bracha is still good. The one saying the bracha places hands on the challah before saying the bracha. When saying Hashem's name, the challah is lifted up slightly. I also was taught that there's a custom to, if you have two challah rolls, to pick them up, by the way, he doesn't say this here, but to touch them with all 10 fingers. I try to be careful about that. Touch with all 10 fingers because there are 10 separate mitzvahs involved in the making of bread. There's the prohibitions of kalayim, of not planting different kinds of seeds together, of not plowing with an ox and a donkey together. There's a mitzvah of truma, there's a mitzvah of meiser, there's a mitzvah of peah. There's 10 different mitzvahs that are observed in the course of producing wheat and making it into bread, taking challah, we mentioned the other day. So to commemorate those 10 separate mitzvahs, so we use 10 fingers and put them on the challahs. By the way, there's also 10 words in the bracha. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam motzi lechem min haaretz. Also 10. It's good if you ever want to count 10. Count to 10. It's a good way to remember. Picking up the challahs and putting them back to back. You know, the flat part where it rests on the tray. Putting them together because the lechem hapanim, the face breads or show breads, are called show breads, but literally translated as face breads in the temple, were very special in the fact that they had no bottom crust. They were, the good kind of crust, top crust, whatever, on all sides. So to commemorate that, putting the challahs back to back when you make the bracha hamotzi. Okay, we'll talk tomorrow in Mirat Hashem about the custom of putting a little knife mark in the challah before you make the bracha. All right, so please join us for that, and also join us today at 5 o'clock by clicking the link in your email for KST's LOL L'chaim Online. See you then.